Hello and welcome to the Quadcast. I'm the founder and host, John McAlevey. This podcast, while mainly for and about folks like me who have had their lives affected by a spinal cord injury, is really for anyone who just wants to be inspired. In this space, I speak with individuals who have had life-changing injuries and accidents, and yet in spite of insurmountable odds in many cases, have gone on to do amazing things with those lives. I'm reminded of the old metaphor that when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. Well, my guests, they take those lemons and roll right over them with their wheelchairs and rollators on their journey. I'd like to thank you for lending me your ears for another session of OT and PT for the soul. So, what do you say we get this show on the road? Owen Weiss, welcome to the Quadcast. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, and I guess before we get started, we should say that this all came together by a mutual friend, the great Lexi McGivern at NeuroPro Wellness. We met at her gym on Route 10, which is awesome, isn't it?
Yes. It's been great to not only actually have a gym for us to go to exercise, but also to meet each other, to meet people.
Absolutely, and her colleague MC is wonderful, and they're really going to do well up there. If you're looking to do PT, and I know they're going to hire an OT and a massage person there, so that's NeuroPro Wellness, and we'll put a link in the bio when we're finished with that. So that's a wonderful spot and really good people who know what they're doing and they're kind-hearted, which is really what you're looking for when you're in our position, right? When we're coming back from injuries and setbacks. And so why don't we begin the podcast as I do all of mine? And why don't you tell us, Owen, where did you grow up and what were some things you were interested in your youth?
Yeah. So I was born actually in Livingston, New Jersey. I was born in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. I came into this world with a bang in the medical world. So
And sirens blaring. You had
exactly.
to,
Yes. Yes.
wow.
So I was born on Route 10, but I grew up in Randolph, New Jersey, and I went to all my school here. Um, and growing up, I was pretty active. I played a lot of sports. I pretty much tried every sport, but around high school, I landed on basketball and tennis,
Okay.
were my main two sports.
I
And
could see why basketball, you've got some height to you. How
yes,
tall
I
are you?
do. I am 6'5".
6'5". Oh my
Yes,
gosh. I coached
yes.
basketball for 22 years in Milburn.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had eighth
Oh,
grade.
wow.
So I would have had you in the paint and I would have had my kids feeding you down low.
Yeah, that would have been me.
Oh, that's great. Obviously you played inside. Was that with the position you played, forward and center?
You know, that's where they always wanted me, but
Yeah.
but I did not identify with that play style.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really liked ball handling. I really liked that I much rather preferred to be out on the wings.
Well, it's funny. I had one young man who I saw him at the preseason before we had our tryouts, and he was big. He was the biggest kid in their class. So I went up to him and I said, "Man, I am going to have fun. I've got a lot of great plays to get you the ball on the blocks, and we're going to have a party." And he said, "You know, Coach, I'm a point forward." And I thought, "Oh my God, we're not in Kansas anymore. These guys are
Yeah.
telling me what position they're going to play." And I really had a hard time getting him to play inside. He was outside shooting 3-pointers all the time. And so
Yeah.
I had to take a couple of those a game to make sure he was going to score around the blocks for us. But that's funny. So, okay,
Yeah.
basketball and tennis were your sports. How about now as you're getting older? What you're getting through high school and you're thinking about college? Where do you think you're going to attend college? Where did you and what were you beginning to study?
Yeah, so I graduated high school in 2019. And then from there, I went to Towson University, which is in Maryland.
Okay.
It's a state school there. And I majored in psychology and I minored in deaf studies.
Wow.
So I had a bunch of classes about American Sign Language, where we learned the language,
Mhm.
and also deaf culture classes and deaf history classes, and a pretty extensive education on that. I learned American
Wow.
Sign Language in high school, so that
Okay.
was what kind of
Yeah, I
piqued
was
my
gonna
interest
say,
in that.
did you grow up around folks that were deaf, or just it was the high school thing that piqued your interest?
Yeah, so my first year when I got to high school was the first year that they started offering American Sign Language as a course. But
Okay.
before then, when I was in first grade, our teacher taught all of us the alphabet in sign language, and so I
Okay.
guess I I had enough pre-existing knowledge to have an interest in taking that in high school. So
Mhm.
I took ASL all 4 years of high school, and then I decided I wanted to continue with that.
You know, Owen, nowadays, whenever I see press conferences on television, I had never noticed it before. They always have someone signing there, and
Yeah,
I had never noticed it before.
yeah.
But I think with the world and inclusivity, they're really making a habit of getting that out there because obviously deaf people need to know what's going on in the world as
Absolutely,
well.
of course, yeah, and that's a
Yeah.
big, that was a big issue recently.
Yeah. Well, but before the end of the show, you're going to have to sign that the Quadcast podcast is the one to listen to.
I'm sure I
Oh
could
gosh.
I'm sure I could find a translation of
I'm
that.
sure you could find something like that. You could just do a big thumbs down because that would be how people would be listening
Oh,
to our
no.
show. Yeah. Well, now how about let's talk about what brings you and I together, why our paths have crossed. And so yours is a unique story. Most of my subjects and guests have had spinal cord injuries, whether it would be through traumatic injury like car accidents or dives into pools and things like that. Yours
Yeah,
is a little bit different. Why don't you tell the audience at 21 years old you began having some symptoms. Why don't you tell us what they were
yeah,
and what the doctors ultimately thought it was, and then they found out maybe it wasn't that. So tell us a
yeah.
little bit about your story.
So, when I was 21, I started having some issues with sensation, and strength. The first thing that I noticed was I was home on spring break from college, and just walking around the house, I kept tripping over my big toe.
Wow.
And, like, this would happen, like, multiple times a day, and I've never tripped over my big toe before walking. I wouldn't say I'm a very clumsy person,
Right.
and, at the time, I was seeing a chiropractor, and I had told this to him. I said, "I'm tripping over my big toe, and I'm walking around the house, and I don't know what's going on. Can you adjust me and fix me?"
Yeah.
So, so I was seeing him for a bit, and, after things weren't getting better, he sent me for an MRI. So I had an
Okay.
MRI, and the interpretations of it read that I had a bulging disc in L5, L4, or something like that.
Okay.
Um, Even though, on the MRI, when I looked at it or when my mom looked at it, who has had a herniated disc herself, she was like, "That doesn't really look like a bulging disc to me." But, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, we're not doctors, we don't have any,
Right. Even though
opportunity
you
to.
play one on TV,
Right,
right?
right, exactly. Um, so I went back to school after my winter break, went back and I resumed, and I started
Mhm.
PT there while I was at school in Maryland
Okay.
for a bulging disc.
Right.
That's what was being treated, and I was being treated for that for 6 months. I would do all my home exercises, and, I went to PT 2 days a week, and things weren't getting better not only, but they were kind of getting worse.
Okay.
I started to get some nerve pain and some sensation issues running up the back of my left leg, um, and, um, yeah, so things started to get worse.
Sure.
Then that summer, we took a trip to Mexico.
Right.
And I remember the morning of my flight, I woke up and I felt like my feet were almost like asleep.
Mhm.
But I had just assumed I was just asleep. My feet are probably asleep. Once I get up
Right.
and moving, everything is fine. But I really felt like I couldn't move them at all.
Yeah.
Um, but I didn't really think anything of it because, well, also
Yeah.
we were going to Mexico. I mean, what was there to do?
Yeah, you didn't wanna
S-
say anything or else they would
Exactly.
cancel the trip.
So we
Yeah.
went to Mexico. We had a great time.
Okay.
But
Mhm.
by the end of the trip, I was walking I was walking with a pretty noticeable limp. I
Okay.
would say, uh, honestly, I was walking the way that I walk now after my
Okay.
injury, but
Now did it
but
affect one leg more than the other, or
it
was it both?
affected it. Mostly, it was my left. On my left foot, I had a complete foot drop, and on my right, it was just weak. I'm
Okay.
sorry, other way around.
Okay.
My left was complete foot drop. My right was,
Yep.
yeah. But anyway, it got really, really bad when we were in Mexico, and I think that's when we knew that it wasn't a bulging disc.
Yeah, this is no bulging disc.
Right. So
So
I
you went
came
back to the
home,
doctor, yeah, and what
back to the
was the
doctor.
next?
They sent me for a spinal angiogram. Have you heard of that
Okay.
before?
I had never heard of that. That's a first
Okay.
here on the QP.
Yes, the spinal angiogram. That
Okay.
is when it's a procedure that they put you out for, and they make a tiny incision right near the groin, and they put
Camera.
a tube or a catheter up. No,
Okay.
not a camera. I think it's just a tube or a catheter up up this artery through
Okay.
your groin, and they
Mhm.
inject iodine dye into your arteries and
Oh,
veins, and
right,
they use
right.
an X-ray machine to take pictures of it so they can see how the blood
Gotcha.
is flowing. And
Mhm.
that revealed what's called an arteriovenous malformation that I had in my spine, which
Okay.
is essentially a tangle of blood vessels. The way that one of the doctors explained it to me is as if you were to imagine a highway, and there's like a divider in the highway, and that keeps the cars going northbound on one side and the cars going southbound on the other. And if the arteries and veins were kind of like opposite sides of the highway, there was a break in the highway divider, and cars were starting to go into the other sides of the highway.
Mhm.
So it was creating a lot of congestion and a lot of traffic, and was limiting the
We
amount of blood flow in my
we had a
spinal cord.
pile up on the 405.
Exactly like that. Yeah. So
Wow.
they said that I had to needed to have surgery to have this taken care of. So I had my first surgery in June of 2022.
Okay. And where did you do
Um,
that?
I did that at Columbia, New York Presbyterian Hospital,
Yeah,
uh,
it's the
in
best. Yeah.
Manhattan. Yeah.
Okay. And how long was the how long did it take to do that? And did you stay overnight? They keep you for a couple days, and what was the protocol?
Yeah. So I had the procedure. Um, don't remember it. I stayed in the hospital for, I think, 6 days after.
Okay.
There was a
Okay.
lot of boxes I needed to check because
Yeah.
I had to have a laminectomy, which is where they took my spine out basically so that they can get to all of
Jeez.
the
Oh my gosh.
arteries and veins. So it was like a couple of days before I was even able to sit up, and then
Yeah.
I had to void on my own before I could
Yep.
leave, and
Mhm.
a bunch of
Mhm.
boxes I had to check. Yeah, so it was 6 days, and then I went home, and pretty much I resumed normal life. I mean,
Okay.
I started to get a little bit better, and like by the end of that summer, I was going to the beach with my friends and playing sports again. Um, then
So
what happened?
you're thinking you're out of the woods.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I went back to school again. That was summer, so now I'm back in the
Back to
fall at
Maryland.
school.
Yep. Uh-huh.
And towards the end of the semester, I'm realizing I'm starting to have similar symptoms on the right
Ugh.
side.
Oh God.
Last time it was my left foot and ankle, and now it's my right. And I mean, when I first was experiencing these symptoms, I wasn't thinking, "Oh my God, it came back again. We're gonna have to deal with it again."
Mhm.
I mean, because I had figured that my surgery and my problem was already done and taken care of.
Been there, done
Um,
that. Yeah.
right. So I came home, and this was actually uh, a night that my college roommate was up visiting me in New Jersey,
Mhm.
and he was staying the night. And that morning, after he slept over, I woke up in a pool of urine in my
Oh,
bed,
geez. Yep.
and that's when we thought that it was really serious. So we just literally went straight to the hospital. I was admitted,
Of course.
and I had a bunch of testing before they even let me know that I needed to have another surgery. So literally, the series of events was: I wake up, I notice that there's this huge issue, I get
Mhm.
admitted to the hospital. That day, I have an angiogram, maybe that evening, and they say we'll do surgery tomorrow.
Wow. Now, was this back in New York, or was this
This
local?
at the same hospital with the same doctor.
Okay. Okay. And
Uh,
did he seem like, surprised to see you so soon, or was this something that was,
yeah, well,
uh,
yeah.
mhm.
As far as the questions that we were asking him, he was saying, um, it's very rare not only to have this arteriovenous malformation, which he said is most common in men over 65, but
Yeah.
also he said
Um,
it's very rare that it were to come back again.
Return, yeah. And
Yeah.
that's exactly what had happened again? It was another AVM?
So what had happened is, so a arteriovenous fistula is the name for one of these kind of
Okay.
connections between an artery and a vein. A
Sure.
malformation is when there's multiple different connections. And so
Okay.
what had happened is there was a vein and an artery that were kind of connected in several different spots, but only one at a time could those kind of weakenings in the wall be problematic.
Okay.
So, it's almost like if you were to have a hose with water that like kind of was like a hose that came up to two different hoses, like it was almost looked like a Y.
Yeah.
And but one of them was really tiny and the other one was really enlarged. If you were to cut off the flow of that tube,
Mhm.
it would start to go then the other way, and then that
Yeah.
tube would kind of so that's
Of
kind of what
course.
happened with my
With your
AVM.
blood, wow. Oh
Right.
my gosh.
So,
So the second surgery, you do it that next night
yep.
and
This was
same
on New
protocol?
Year's Day,
Oh,
of 2023, yeah.
yeah, Happy New
Honestly,
Year.
this surgery yeah, right, Happy New Year. I got to okay,
Crappy
actually
New
what was
Year.
cool though was I got to watch fireworks from my
Oh,
window
there you go.
that actually looked out across the Hudson. So that was
Mhm.
kind of some
That's
silver
pretty
lining.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I had that surgery. Honestly, this recovery was even easier than the first time. I was only in
Okay.
the hospital for 3 days after,
Okay.
and I came home and I resumed my normal life, and that's when I really thought, okay, now we're good.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Spoiler alert.
Oh, no.
That
How soon
wasn't
after?
that wasn't
Was
the
it
end. It was
was it
again
quicker?
another 6 months. It was another 6 months after that. So it seems
Jeez.
like it took 6 months in between each of them to be taken care of for it to
Yeah.
kind of find a new path.
Yeah.
So 6 months later, I started having issues at school again, and
Oh,
these were more
gosh.
than just sensory. This is when I started to have bowel and bladder issues.
Okay.
Like for the first time, honestly.
Yep.
Um, so I'm at school and literally I'm thinking to myself, don't don't get all worried. You're not gonna have to have another surgery. You've already had two. I mean, come on, this has to be something else, or I
Yeah.
don't know. So I go home and when I get home and my mom sees me when I come home from college and I'm walking around, she's like, have you been getting better? Because I still
Oh, no.
because I resumed PT again. So I was doing PT
Of course.
while I was in school. So
Yeah.
I come back and she's like, I don't know that your walking looks any better. She's like, honestly, your walking looks a little bit worse.
Oh, no.
And I was like, oh mom, don't start with this.
Yeah, don't make me feel self-conscious, Mom. Come on, you're on my team.
I don't exactly remember what it was um that we decided to have another angiogram. I think
Mhm.
maybe we just wanted to rule out that it was back.
Yeah.
So we had another angiogram and they were
Okay.
like, it's back again
Oh,
for a third time.
God. Good grief.
And the doctor had even said after the second surgery, when we were already like, we didn't even know that this thing could come back again. How can we make sure that doesn't come back a third time? And after the second surgery, he said, well, I would be really surprised if it came back again. I've really killed that thing this time.
Oh, no. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Uh,
He didn't even, I mean, and he's even said to me, I've seen an AVM come back before, but I've never seen it come back twice.
this was like Jason from Halloween, man. He
I
can't
know.
kill him. Oh my
I know.
gosh.
It's like, yeah.
Ugh.
Anyway, this
So,
surgery,
yeah, how soon after is another like 6 months or so? This is when you had the third surgery?
yeah, yeah. So it was literally January 1st, and then June again.
Wow.
Yeah, so I had the third surgery, and this was the one that hurt me. Uh, I think maybe it was a little bit of their approach that they tried to be more aggressive in making sure that this issue didn't come back again.
Yeah.
And maybe that led to some, something. But I I I truly think that this wasn't a result of malpractice. I think that this was just a byproduct of what needed to occur in order to honestly save my life.
Hmm.
If I didn't have this surgery, and my veins and arteries kept getting backed up, and inflamed, I
Yeah.
it could have led to like a burst and like a spinal aneurysm, which honestly could have resulted in something extremely not good.
Absolutely. Yeah. 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 So this was
So
almost
yeah,
like not meant to be, but it was something that you were headed in that direction, it sounds
yeah,
like.
yeah. So yeah, so I walked myself into the operating room. When I woke up, I couldn't move. But even when I woke up, I didn't think this is how I am now. I just kind of thought, okay, well, this is, I guess, maybe, I have to give myself time. Maybe I'll be back to normal next week.
Right. Yeah, that was my next
Um,
question is that when you wake up after the third surgery and you didn't really have any movement or feeling from what was it, your mid stomach down or your waist down?
so it's actually really, really complicated
Uh-huh.
because my case is so complex. There wasn't like a clean break
Hmm.
in the spinal cord, how there, would be for a traumatic spinal cord injury.
Right.
But I mean, technically I am classified as a spinal cord injury, but
Hmm.
because it's non-traumatic, it's like it really has to do with which nerves were being innervated by what
Yeah.
veins and arteries, and like what parts of the body. So like, for example, like on my left I can feel less of my hip and of my waist than on my right. and
Okay.
then and then there are some spots that I can feel and some spots that I it's like it's really, really complex. Yeah.
Sporadic. Yeah. How about
Yeah.
temperatures? Like when you take a shower, do you feel the water? Do you feel the temperature?
Yeah, this actually was something that I didn't realize until I kind of thought back in my experience.
Hmm.
Before I had my surgery, I went to the beach with my friends at the end of the school year. This was
Hmm.
before my third surgery, so in May of like 2023, we all went to the beach.
Yep.
And May is not the hottest month,
No.
especially to go to the beach. And but we were there and everyone was running in the water. I was just like, on the sand or whatever. And they were all screaming that the water was freezing cold. And they were like, "Owen, come put your feet in." So I ran over, well, hobbled over or whatever, because I
Yeah,
was having
right.
issues.
Yeah.
I hobbled over, I put my feet in, and I was just like, "What are you talking about? The water feels great. The
Yeah,
water feels
yeah.
nice."
It's
And they're
like
like, "Are you
Miami
kidding? It's
Beach.
freezing."
Oh,
And I was
wow.
confused because I could feel the water. I could feel the water on my feet. And even
Mhm.
when I'm in the shower, I could feel the water hitting my feet, but I can't tell if the water's hot or cold.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I asked because my injury is at the cervical 3-4 level, so I'm
Yeah.
way up the pendulum. And when I go to the beach with my niece and nephew and would stand there and I would see the water coming in and I'm like, "All right." And then it hits me and like you, I feel it hitting me, but it's like the weirdest feeling in
Yeah.
the world. And
Yeah.
even though,
It
like you
is.
said, it's really cold and my legs try to like spasm out of the way, it's like
Yeah.
I don't feel it as cold. It's just
Yeah.
bizarre.
Yeah. It's
People
definitely
that
a
aren't
really
in
cool
our, our
feeling.
our neck of the woods won't know what we're talking about, but it is so
Exactly.
bizarre, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So, all right. So now you wake up, and how long are you in the hospital and without the movement? And
Yeah.
do you have bowel and bladder issues? Is that part of all of this? Is that something you
So,
did? Yeah.
yeah. So honestly, being able to urinate after my first two surgeries really wasn't an issue.
Okay.
I think maybe I had to be cathed once or twice within the first 24 hours after surgery.
Right.
But after that, I mean, I was voiding on my own.
Thank
S-
God.
After the third surgery, I wasn't really like looking out for that because I didn't really have that experience.
Yeah.
I went like a whole day without peeing
Hmm.
because I didn't feel it, and I wasn't like aware that I might not
Right.
feel it.
Exactly.
So I forget, like there was this one time where they were asking about if I had to pee, and I was like, "Oh yeah," like I like forgot about peeing because I just never
Of
felt the
course.
sensation, like, or like, yeah, like I never felt the urge. And
Yeah.
they were like, "When's the last time you cath?" Or not last time you cath. That's my brain now. when's the
Yeah.
last time you peed? I was like, I don't know. They're like, let's just catheterize you. I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
All right.
I had like 1,000 milliliters.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's
So
crazy.
anyway, um yeah, after waking up, I was in the hospital for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And in comparison, my second surgery was 3 days and my first surgery was 6 days. So this
Yeah.
was long.
Yep.
And it it was 3 or 4 days before I could even sit up on the side of the bed and hold
Yeah.
myself up.
Yeah.
Because I had so many issues with my blood pressure. I
Oh
would sit
yeah.
up and then I would feel like I was gonna faint. So they had to put me back in bed and turn my bed upside down with my feet basically hanging from the ceiling
Yeah.
to get the blood, back to my head.
Yeah, well, you
Um,
lay flat for so long
I
and
know.
your body becomes used to it. I was I was in bed for a long time when I initially had mine and they put me on the side of the bed and they said, "We're going to
Yeah.
call it dangling. We're going to put your legs off the
Yeah.
side." And
Yeah.
I was there for maybe 10 seconds and it was like
Yeah.
whoosh, I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, go on. So 2 weeks.
Yeah, I was in there for 2 weeks. Yeah, it was a while before I could just sit up without feeling, while feeling like, I was good and I wasn't gonna, collapse.
Yes.
But once I was able to do that, um, I really tried to spend as much time sitting up as I could.
Right.
But
The,
even after that step, then the next step is they want you to stand. And uh, after surgery, they really want to push you to do,
yeah.
to make sure you can stand and you can, um, so like I felt like as soon as I felt good with my blood pressure, they were already trying to get me to do something else that I felt was really hard to do.
Let's
Um,
go. Come on. Yeah.
right.
I know what you mean.
Standing was the weirdest sensation because literally, by the way, my surgery took 14 hours, this one,
Oh
because
my gosh.
because
14 hours.
yeah, so they did the whole surgery, and then after that they took me back to the angiogram suite where they were to kind of just check to
Make
make sure that
sure
they
they
got
got
everything,
everything.
and they
Yeah.
saw that they missed something, so they had to take
Oh
me back
god.
to the operating room and redo everything. So
Oh god. Now
that
let
was
me ask you
14
about
hours.
the surgery. Are you on your stomach for the surgery so that they can get around to your back? How does that
Yeah,
happen?
yeah.
Okay.
That well, that whole process I think takes place after you're already out. So,
Yeah, they put you out.
yeah, yeah.
Jeez.
So yeah, they put me out first, and then that's when they would turn me. Um,
Okay.
yeah.
So
So
now they want you standing and let's
right.
go. They got you in the PT gym in the hospital.
Yeah. Well, they had to use that device. I'm not sure if you had to use it, or if you know. It's almost like a scooter where the the seat kind of folds up. So they like
Okay.
bring it to the side of the bed
Yep.
and then you stand and then they put the seat down and then you
Oh yeah.
sit on it. You
Yeah,
know
I
what I'm
know what you
talking
mean.
about?
Of
Yeah.
course I do. Yeah, sure.
And that was a really trippy experience for me because that was the first time where I stood up and then I sat down onto the seat
Yep.
and I felt like there was nowhere left for me to go, but I didn't feel like I was sitting.
Yeah.
I couldn't feel, like, my butt on the
Oh
seat.
wow.
So I was like and I and at this time, like, I'm not thinking that anything is permanent. I'm thinking, "I just had
Right.
spinal surgery.
Right.
My spine was open and my vertebrae on a table for 14 hours.
Right.
I'm not worried about what I can and can't feel right now. I'm sure it'll
Yeah.
be fine later."
It needs to
But
chill out. That whole
right.
area just needs to relax.
Right. And they, like the staff of the hospital were saying those things to me as well. I mean, they didn't, it wasn't like I came out from surgery and they were like, he's going to be a paraplegic now.
Right.
They were also like, we didn't expect this. Let's just start you with PT and see what happens. Cause obviously, we're trying to, grasp, grasp at straws, trying to get answers about things.
Yeah.
Um, but they were also like, "Let's just kinda see what happens, maybe things will get better, uh, soon." So, yeah.
Wow. And so once they send you home, what is the protocol then when you get home? Are you going to outpatient stuff? Is that where you then find yourself at Kessler Institute? Is that when that
Yeah,
all came
so
about?
I was directly transported from the hospital to Kessler inpatient. So
Okay.
I stayed I stayed there for another 2 weeks.
Now, were you on the second floor?
I was on the second floor.
How did I miss you? Because I've been there since 2020. I don't know how I missed you.
I was only there between, let's see, my surgery was June 12th, so I was
Mhm.
there June 24th maybe
Okay.
until July 1st or July 2nd.
Okay, so you were there, it may have been when I was on vacation or something.
And that
Because you
was
would have.
yeah, and that was in 2023.
Okay. Because I walk around, I have a service dog. I have the greatest
Yeah.
service dog in the world, and, you or your family or whatever would have been like, "Hey, there's a crazy guy out here with a dog. We should get him down to your room."
I don't remember that, no, but yeah,
Oh, wow.
I was on the second
Okay.
floor.
So that wasn't for you. You went home and you
Yeah, it
started
was
doing
awful.
therapy for, outpatient therapy on your own.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I just wanna quickly touch on the
Yeah,
reason why I decided that I wanted to leave there.
sure.
Obviously, it's hard to go through this experience at any age, but, I felt especially, alone,
Yeah,
being that I felt like everyone else there was 50 years older than me, or the next youngest person was 50 years older than me.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and I was already living in the hospital for 2 weeks, and I already felt like I was completely cut off from my friends and my family,
yeah.
and when I did get to see my family, you know, and when they came to visit me, it felt like coming to visit me was a charity, and
Right.
not that we were doing something fun together. I didn't have any of these experiences, and,
Mhm.
I guess, my age contributed to me just
Yeah.
being absolutely miserable there. Yeah.
I could see that, absolutely, and for the longest time, we haven't had a lot of young people, but recently, unfortunately, we do. We have a young man right now who's 17 years old, and he's really going through it. He's
Yeah.
having a really, really hard time, as you can
Yeah.
imagine, and one of my
I had a
good
hard time too,
friends.
yeah.
Yeah, one of my good friends, he and the family, we've become really tight now. He was a guest that I had here on the podcast, probably a year to 2 years ago. He was injured in a high school football game, and he was one of the only young ones there. And
Wow.
he lives down at the Jersey Shore, and his buddies would drive up like a couple times a week, and so that they wouldn't leave him behind. But yeah, it's tough being young. When I was there, I was 24 when I had my injury, and my
Yeah.
roommate was 59. So it was like, yeah, we had nothing in common other than, hey, what did you used to do?
Yeah.
And his boys were almost my age. So
Yeah.
it's a lonely feeling when you're in a
Yeah.
in a rehab hospital. I can definitely see where you would want to get the heck out of there.
Yeah.
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 So then,
So,
what now after um, leaving Kessler and doing therapy on your own, when do you kind of begin to um, move away from, not move away from therapy, but start to figure out you're going to start living your life again, like maybe going back to school or getting involved with doing social things with your buddies, and when does that sort of begin to be on your horizon again?
yeah. So, well, immediately after I was discharged from, inpatient, I came home and we had to move my bedroom from upstairs. We moved my bed and my dressers and everything. We, like, took the table out of our dining room, and that
Yeah,
became my bedroom because I
sure,
couldn't go up and downstairs, but,
sure.
um, yeah, that was also really, really tough for me, being that my room, my only private space that I would have is right in the middle of my house, and anyone
Mm,
can walk by or come in or look in or, yeah, it was like a mix of I felt alone,
yeah,
but then I also felt
in a fishbowl.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, oh gosh.
Um, I felt alone, but also I wanted I it was some intersection between I wanna be alone and I don't wanna be alone,
Mhm.
if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, well, you've just
Yeah,
had something
yeah,
drastically, your life changed in
yeah.
in an instant, and
So yeah,
I always tell people that these injuries rob so much from us physically, and you can see that. Like,
yeah,
I'm walking with a rollator now, and you have your chair when you're playing tennis, which we'll get to a little bit later on, and your canes, but people don't see the
yeah,
mental aspect. I mean, these
yeah.
things
No,
just
that's
can
yeah, that's the
really
biggest
screw with your head.
So once I got to this stage where I'm living back at home, but I'm living in my bedroom, which is now, or I'm living in the dining room, which is now my bedroom.
Yeah.
This is actually when I started to do PT with Lexi. She started to come to my house twice a week. I would get home
Okay.
therapy because that was the only way that I could leave
Yeah.
inpatient, is if I agreed to having twice a week home
Okay.
therapy. And Lexi was working at Kessler and inpatient during this time. That's how we met. She said she started to do home therapy, so we were like, "That's great," because I want
Yeah.
out. So I started working with her, but even when I started working with her, I would scream and cry and throw a fit at the thought of having to do PT, because I've never been pushed to do something that I didn't think I could do. But like, for example, before, like if I were to work out or go to the gym, of
Right.
course lifting is hard and requires effort. But this was an experience completely unlike just doing something that requires effort. It was
Mhm.
to do things that I couldn't do, to try and
Right.
do things that I didn't think I could do or that I didn't feel I could do. And
Mhm.
that is honestly mostly mentally exhausting more
Mhm.
than physical,
Mhm.
because it just feels so it's so depressing, I guess is the word.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do
S-
what you used to do. It's
Right.
something that, unless you're in our shoes, you'll people will never know. But
Right.
yeah, it's something that you have to come to grips
Yeah.
with at some point. I like to tell
Yeah.
people, I still will never accept what happened to me, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna let it rule the day, and it's not gonna
Yeah,
hold
that's
me
great.
back from trying to live. As happily and as freely as I do, and
Yeah, I like that.
it sounds like you've gotten to that point now where it's like, all right, this it's not great. I mean, let's
Right.
face it, we can't sugarcoat it. This sucks, but you know, remembering of a comedian that said, "Life sucks, get a helmet." So, you kind of have to pick up the pieces and move along with what
Yeah.
you have. It just takes time.
Yeah. And so in this time,
Hmm.
um I guess I was just so I didn't wanna do anything. I mean, not only did I not wanna do PT, but I didn't wanna see my friends, and I didn't really, make plans to see family, or people have said that they wanted to come and visit me at home, and I said, "That's okay,
Yeah,
I'll see you."
yeah,
Because honestly, in my head, I thought, like, I still had no idea about the permanence of this.
right,
I at this point, I still thought in 2 months from now, you know what? I'll be back to 100%. Then I'll hang out with my friends. Then I'll let people see me. Right now, I almost thought, like, I'll do my PT once I'm better.
right.
That was almost kind of what I was. That was kind of what I was thinking. And then I
Hmm.
guess after working with Lexi and talking with her a lot, um, I guess I found a new purpose or a new outlook on I mean, a new outlook on PT that I could have that would just make me feel better about it.
Yep.
When I was younger, before my injury, I went to the School of Rock. It's in Montclair, not the movie or the Broadway show. It's like a music
Okay.
school where you can go and have lessons. It's like an extracurricular
No
uh,
Jack Black.
kind of, no, no Jack Black. But I had
Okay.
music lessons there, and I did a lot of shows with that company.
Hmm.
And one of their mottos is, "We don't teach music to put on shows. We put on shows to teach music."
Oh, I like that.
And that kind of mantra has kind of inspired a lot of other of my perspectives on things. And I
Very
guess as
cool.
far as I was thinking about this, as far as how this applies to PT,
Hmm.
is maybe I could think that instead of doing PT so that I can live life, that I should just start living life, and that that'll be my PT.
Yeah. Very cool way
Um,
to think of it. That's
yeah.
very wise beyond your age, Owen. I tell
Thank
you,
you. Thank you.
that is
Yeah.
really cool. I like that.
And I kind of think that that's something that I figured out with Lexi, and that I decided on, that
Uh-huh.
instead of getting better to live life, that I would live life to get better. And that's when I guess I decided that I was going to go back to school. I finished my degree. Um, not only were not only was I back at school with a whole new outlook on life, and all these other issues that I didn't have last time I was at school, but I was also, for the first time, living alone with all of these issues. I had to figure out
Yeah.
how to do all my chores around my apartment that I had at school, and
Hmm.
how to transfer around the furniture in that house and get around by myself.
Yeah.
So so yeah, it was
So
kind of like a double.
yeah, was this back
Yeah,
at you went back to Towson?
I went back to Towson. Yeah,
Wow. And at this point, are you using the canes? Are you using a wheelchair? What?
at this point, I'm pretty much using my wheelchair when I'm out.
Okay.
If I'm on campus, if I'm out at the mall with my friends or something like that. But
Yeah.
around my house, or at least if I was somewhere where there was a point A and a point B, where I was
Right.
getting from one place to another, I would use my crutches. Like in my house, I
Crutches.
use
Yeah.
my walker, honestly, because that's just easier. Or
Yeah.
if I was going out to a restaurant where I would just park and then I would just walk into the restaurant and sit, and that was the end destination,
Yeah.
then I would use my crutches. But somewhere where I'm going to be like going around a bunch of different places, like the campus or the mall or
Yeah.
a fair, I use my wheelchair.
Yeah. Wow. So and then so you graduate with a degree in
Psychology.
okay. All right. And
Yeah.
then what is the goal now? You're a recent college graduate, and
Yep.
what is the thought process now? I know that you were going for a master's in teaching, I believe.
Yeah.
Was that the goal, and where did you begin doing that?
So at this point, after graduating from Towson, I didn't really think anything about education yet at this point. I was
Uh-huh.
just really looking for a job because I was home now. I graduated college. I came down from my high of being done with school,
Woohoo!
and I was like, okay, now it's time to get a job. So I started looking and applying. I pretty much spent the entire summer applying for jobs,
Okay.
and I went to this thing called a deaf meet or a deaf chat.
Oh, right.
They happen around the county. They're basically just opportunities for deaf people or hard of hearing people, or just people who want to practice and use sign language to come together, meet
Yeah,
and
yeah.
chat and practice. So there was a deaf meet at the Rockaway Mall that I went to over the summer, and one of the women there who I was talking with, I was telling them I just graduated. I was a deaf studies minor in college, and I also did ASL tutoring when I was at Towson, and I was telling her all about that. And I was telling her I'm looking for a job and I can't find anything, and
Sure.
she said, "Oh well, I work at a school for the deaf, and we're always looking for paraprofessionals to help and assist our students." And
Mhm.
I had no idea what a paraprofessional was at that time. So I asked her about it,
Yep.
and that's seemed pretty ideal. And she was like, "We always need people because
Yeah, sure.
so I applied, and I got that job, and I started working at the high school.
Okay.
And so I was assigned to one student, and I helped them throughout the day, organizationally, behaviorally.
Mhm.
Um, but the other interesting thing that I guess I learned working at this job was, well, this is kind of off the topic of spinal cord injury
Yeah.
and my experience with that, but I think it's kind of interesting to mention. When I got to this job, I was finding that a lot of the deaf kids struggled with something called language deprivation,
Okay.
which I had never even heard of before, even though I was a deaf studies minor and took numerous classes about all the different aspects
Yeah.
of deafness and the deaf
Right.
experience.
Mhm.
A lot of the students from this school come from Spanish speaking countries.
Okay.
They don't know sign language because they don't have deaf education in these countries.
Mhm.
They come to America, their family only speaks Spanish, and they themselves don't know English, don't know Spanish, and also don't know sign.
Jeez.
So they come with zero language.
Yeah.
And for example, my student that I had last year, she moved to the United States from the Dominican Republic when she was 10 with
Okay.
zero language, knowing
Zero
absolutely nothing.
language.
And I mean, at this point, when I started working with her, I think she was 18. So, I mean, that's, 8 years ago. But I
Yep.
mean, she's developed a lot of language, but still it's a very interesting dynamic to communicate and help someone
Yeah,
who
yeah.
has a lot of barriers when it comes to communication.
Yeah, and so it
Um,
sounds like you're making your mark at the school and working with students, and
yeah, yeah,
so that's a great thing. And then
yeah.
was it from there that you decided to pursue a master's in teaching?
Yeah, I never really, I guess, realized well, it felt really good to think about the impact that I was having on those kids. Not
Uh-huh.
only was I, there helping them, but it's really hard to find people who no sign who are willing to work with these students
Right.
and to have a degree. And so I think there are also uh, there are some working as a paraprofessional at the deaf school. There are a lot of paras that actually don't know sign
Okay.
because that's all that they could get, I guess.
Yep.
And so I think I was helping them. I was young and relatable compared to other people, and I knew sign. I was able to have an impact with them that 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 really felt amazing, and I guess that's what kind of sparked my interest in education.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
feel like it
So
was much more than teaching and helping. It was
sure.
yeah,
Sure. And now let's fast forward to November of 2024, and you pick up the old tennis racket that you had put
yes,
down as a high school player. Tell
yeah.
us what brought that. What? How did wheelchair tennis come onto your horizon? And then how really deeply into it did you get initially? And tell
Yeah.
us of what you're doing now.
So Lexi actually introduced me to the idea of playing wheelchair tennis a whole year before I actually tried it.
Aha!
And that was because I didn't want to play wheelchair tennis. I wanted to play what I called real tennis. And
Real tennis.
I guess I just refused. I didn't want to participate in something because I also still felt at this point, I'm going to be fine. I'm
Right.
gonna be fine. I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna get back to playing tennis. No, Lexi, I'm not gonna try wheelchair tennis.
Right.
A whole year later, I'm
Yeah.
like,
Maybe
all
I'll
right,
try this tennis thing
I'll
again.
just try it. You know what? And if I get better, then great. I don't have to play wheelchair tennis anymore. Then
Yeah.
but for now, I'll just try it.
Yep.
So I went to this clinic that they have in Queens, in New York, that's sponsored by the Wheelchair Sports Federation, and
Okay.
they host a wheelchair tennis clinic. There's a wheelchair certified tennis instructor there,
Yep.
and we get to do different drills and play games. And my first time there, I just fell in love all over again. I mean, it felt
Mm.
so good to hit a ball um, in so
You
long. Yeah,
you were hooked.
yeah, and when I was there at the first clinic, one of the other honestly, I couldn't tell if he was, like, a staff member or if he was, like, one of the people involved in the clinic, but there was this young kid
Right.
who was, like, showing everyone how to do things, and when I saw him hitting balls, like, he looked like a professional, and I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, so turns out that this kid, his name is Max Wong.
Okay.
He is the former number 1 junior wheelchair tennis player in the country,
Wow.
and now is actually, he's at the University of Arizona under a scholarship, under a spinal cord injury scholarship, playing wheelchair tennis for their adaptive sports program,
Wow. And
and,
now that
yeah,
brings us full circle. That's how you
yeah.
found out about the adaptive
Right, that's how I
sports.
found out about the adaptive sports program,
Okay.
but after meeting Max, I, like, became obsessed with, like, getting to his level and, like, maybe beating him one day, and so I was texting him, like, until late, like, asking him questions about wheelchair tennis. "What do you recommend to do this? What do you think is the best chair? I'm looking into buying a good
I'm
sports chair now. I'm getting all this
yeah.
new equipment," like
I'm coming for you, Max.
exactly. So I get really, really, really interested in it, and
Okay.
really invested in it. And
Yeah.
then in March of the next year, I play my first tournament since my injury in wheelchair tennis. I fly to Baton Rouge to play in the Cajun
Wow.
Classic tournament in Louisiana.
Wow.
I'm actually going to be doing that again uh, in in like 3 weeks.
Okay.
I'm
Is
going to be
that like one
playing.
of the biggest ones? Is that one of the biggest tournaments on the
I,
circuit?
yeah, well, yeah. There are two different circuits, I guess. There's like the ITF circuit, which is the International Tennis Federation, and then there's the USTA, which is just kind of the United States
Okay.
association. I would say that it's the biggest event in the USTA circuit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. And so how'd
Yeah.
you do that first time down in Baton Rouge? How did you do
So
how'd you make out?
so there are four divisions when it comes to wheelchair tennis. That's based on, I guess it's skill level, but it also kind of falls in line with like level of disability or like
Mhm.
um yeah. So
Sure.
there's divisions D, C, B, and A, or A, B, C, and D.
Okay.
A is the highest skill level and D is the lowest.
Yep.
And so after I was practicing with this coach at the clinic in Queens for a bit, I was trying to decide what um what like division I should sign up for.
Right.
And she recommended that I start with the C division.
Okay.
She said, I think that you'll do really good. Honestly, you might win, and it'll just help you to build some confidence.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, but I don't like being the second to last.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to try the B division. She was like,
Wow.
well, she was like, if you want to, like, it might be a lot harder,
Mhm.
and you might be out earlier. And I was like,
You could have
I
started
just
at
want to try it.
D and C and bagel jobbed everybody,
I was like, I just
right?
want to try it.
Yeah.
So I went, I played my first match, and I won that first match.
You won.
And I
Oh my
won that first
gosh.
match. Yeah,
Unbelievable.
that was a really cool feeling.
Yeah.
The the bad thing though was that I had to do my second match the same day, and
Ugh.
I was too exhausted by that
I
one. I
was
ended
gonna
up losing
say,
that one. But
yeah, you were
um
exhausted.
honestly, I was actually talking about this earlier today with someone else.
Mhm.
I Leading up to this tournament, I was so invested and concentrated and focused on winning. I'm
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think I'm just naturally a really competitive person.
Right.
And I also had the experience of playing it and competing in tennis before my injury. I
Yeah.
had a really, really big hunger to win. And
Yeah.
I think I was putting a lot of pressure on myself. I was like, it's my first tournament back. Now I'm gonna finally be able to play again. And I need to focus on all the ways, that I can maximize my play style and my strategy, and I need to
Yeah.
win.
And I gotta prove it to myself.
After being there
Uh-huh.
and going through the whole experience, I can tell you honestly, the tennis was the secondary experience. I have never been around this many other people like me who
Right.
are young, who've gone through a similar,
Yeah.
story to mine.
Yep.
I have never felt like I belonged so much before. And that was the biggest takeaway experience that I had from that tournament, more so than the tennis or the winning of it.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
What a great after effect. Yeah. I mean, you think
yeah,
you're going in, it's going to be tennis, but the sort of sounds like the light bulb sort of went off and you found your niche. You found some people that you had a lot in common with, and that is
yeah.
awesome. If you could quickly tell us the differences between playing tennis on 2 feet and playing tennis seated in a chair. Is it similar, basically, the game?
Yeah, so the only difference as far as rules go is that wheelchair tennis players get two bounces instead of
Okay.
one.
Okay.
And the second bounce can be out of bounds as long as the first bounce is in.
Okay.
So if it bounces in the court, the first bounce and the second bounce is in the green uh or like behind the baseline, then that's still in play.
Terrific.
Um
And tell us exciting news about um, the adaptive athletics programs. You were telling me that there's two huge, wonderful universities here in these great 50 states that we have that offer this. I think you said there's 5 programs, and there's 2 of them that you're applying to. Tell
yeah,
us about that.
Yeah, I think there's maybe 5 or 6 or maybe a few more, but maybe not as big.
Yep.
But bottom line is there's a limited amount of colleges that have adaptive sports programs. 2
Okay.
of which I was really attracted to were the one at the University of Michigan and the University of Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And, I only found out about this through Max, I mentioned before, but also when
Yeah.
I went to the Cajun Classic tournament in Louisiana, I was meeting students from University of Michigan and University of Arizona who were wheelchair
Okay.
tennis players who were telling me about this, and they were like, "Yeah, you should totally come." And I was like,
Dude, get into this.
"Yeah." But then
Huh.
I started thinking they were also telling me about this Nielsen scholarship, which is the spinal cord injury scholarship, which
Okay.
is something like 125% of the in-state tuition towards the out-of-state tuition, as well
Wow.
as $10,000 a year for housing, $6,000 a year for miscellaneous other expenses.
Hmm.
So that sounded like a really cool opportunity. I was thinking this might be a really great benefit of my story.
Yeah.
I would have never had this opportunity to go to school under a scholarship and play tennis if it weren't for my injury. I was
Yeah.
like, I have to just ditch whatever I'm doing and just go to one of these schools, try to get in, try to play on their team because
Yeah.
I've never had this opportunity. I mean, if I was able-bodied, no way in 8 million years would I be thinking about going to get my master's, having having a scholarship pay for it, and also like fly across the country to to
To one
study.
of them. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
To
So
study and
now,
play tennis, yeah.
did you apply, or what's the process now?
Yeah,
How far along are you?
I applied to both schools. I'm still waiting to hear back. I actually had my interview with, the University of Arizona earlier today.
All right.
Uh, that went well. So, yeah,
Wildcats, baby.
I'm waiting to hear back. Yeah,
Oh,
I think
all right.
it's like a W and then a C.
That's right. I like to
Yeah.
watch their basketball
Do
teams.
you?
They always have great hoops. Yeah.
Maybe soon
Uh,
I can be there.
yeah. Oh, that would be really cool. You're gonna have to keep us posted on that.
Yeah.
That would be great. So now, what is the goal after you choose one of these schools and you graduate? What is the thought process for work wise, and then tennis wise? How about that? You going to continue with doing that?
Yeah, tennis-wise, honestly, I really wanna see how far I can take it,
Okay.
especially because of I just mentioned I would have never had this opportunity if it weren't for my spinal cord injury, so I really feel like I have to squeeze the most out of the
Yeah,
opportunities that I have.
definitely.
So, I mean, other people have mentioned the possibilities of the Paralympics, LA 2028. That would be, like, totally, totally cool and rad.
Mm.
Um
Lexi's got to get you ready.
I know. Maybe I can get to that point eventually. Maybe not for 2028, but maybe
Yeah,
Paralympics after that.
you're a young man. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. And as far as work, I guess we'll see how well tennis goes first.
Okay, that's
But
cool.
yeah, for the University of Arizona, I applied for a clinical mental health counseling program.
Very cool.
My mom and her partner were all therapists, so
Okay,
there were a lot of counselors and emotional awareness in my family. So
so it's in the blood.
yeah.
It's in the
Plus also
blood.
helping people. I mean, I've got a great
Yeah,
passion for that. And since my injury and because of my story, now
even
I
more
feel that
so.
it's my duty. Yeah.
That's terrific. Yeah, we should have you. I'm the peer mentoring coordinator at Kessler. We should maybe
Yeah.
talk about getting you up there to be a peer mentor because
That'd be great.
we do have some young people. As I mentioned, we have someone up there now. So maybe I will be hitting you up on your cell one of these days to see if
Please
you can
do.
come up and help us. Yeah. So that brings me to my final question, Owen, which I ask of all of my guests who have, in one form or fashion, had a spinal cord injury. And I'll tell you where it came from. I was waiting in the long hallway at Kessler to visit with my doctor. I had a doctor's appointment, and I was with a friend of mine who was actually a really good high school friend. And unfortunately, he had a really bad spinal cord injury. So the two of us are waiting to see our doctor. And I said to him, Tommy, if I could snap my fingers right now and you would be completely able-bodied again, and he was a high quad in a power chair, I'm like, what is the first thing you would do? So I look over at him and I could see like the smoke pouring out of his ears as he's trying to come up with an answer. And while that's happening, from behind me, I heard a woman say, I would go out in my garden and plant flowers and tend to my flowers. And then a guy next to me was said, I was always a car guy. I'd go out in the garage and
Yeah.
tinker with my car. And so I thought, I didn't have a podcast at the time, but I thought everybody's going to have a different answer for this. And so
Yeah.
when I started recording, I put this in at the end. And if you're comfortable telling us, what do you think the first thing you would do would be?
I like that question. And people have asked me that question before.
Hmm.
I would have a list of things, obviously, as I'm sure everyone would. But at the top of my list, listen, I was never a runner and I hated running.
Mhm.
But now that I can't, there's nothing that I wouldn't do to be able to run again. Maybe in the form of playing tennis. Honestly, that would be ideal, playing tennis again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but honestly, you know, sometimes I think about I actually said this to Lexi one day. I would love to have one last opportunity to have a day where I get my legs back and I can do everything and anything that I want to do.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about whether or not I would want after that to go back to how I am now. Because I think
Yeah.
in some ways, I'm more happier now than I ever was before. And I just feel so much more equipped to handle life's waves.
That's
So yeah,
amazing.
I don't
That's
know.
really cool.
That's something I'm thinking about. I don't know.
That's amazing. Yeah. I have that's a first for me. I haven't heard anybody say, well,
Maybe.
actually,
I mean, maybe. Listen, if it were really
yeah,
happening and you really snap your fingers, maybe I'd say, I don't know. I think I'll stay
right.
like this.
Exactly. But that again, wise beyond your years, Owen.
Thank you.
That's an amazing answer, and we're gonna have to check back in on you and see how that tennis career is going. You might have to get me tickets
Maybe,
at the
hopefully.
Open, yeah, in New
Hopefully.
York, over there. That would be great. Well,
That would be
I
great.
have to thank Lexi again for putting us together, and we were able to work in the gym together. Hopefully, our paths will cross again over either at the gym or somewhere, maybe at Kessler someday. It's been a pleasure getting to know you and to bring your inspirational story to my audience. And so, Owen Weiss, thank you again for joining me here on the Quadcast.
Thank you so much, John. I really appreciate you having me.
Please be sure to check in again in the coming weeks for episodes featuring Kenny Salvini of the Here and Now Project and Ian McKay, who is a superstar spinal cord injury advocate. These are men whose stories you will not want to miss. Until next time, I'm John McAlevey.